Hello and welcome back to the Supernatural Files. My name is Sam, with me is Steve. So hello, Steve.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, welcome back, welcome back. If you're listening to this, episode 2, that means, you enjoyed the first episode and you're continuing on our journey with us. This episode, we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 2, Wendigo, or Wendigo, however you want to pronounce it. So, just a little bit of background information on this episode. It aired September 20th, 2005, or the 29th of January 2006 in the UK. So basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, man, 10 years ago. It is mind blowing, isn't it, to think
Yeah.
it's been 10 years already.
And the show still doesn't feel old if you're sort of up to date with it, It's amazing. How many other shows, go 10 years, even things like the biggest shows of all time. I don't know, maybe Frasier, but things like Friends, they just felt drawn out towards the end.
They did, but even Frasier, I remember that was one of those TV events at the time in the late 90s, wasn't it? It was, it was back to back, wasn't it? It was
Friends
on
and Frasier.
Friday night, am I right? Yeah, Friends and Frasier. And that lost its edge as well in the last couple of seasons. I felt it didn't go. It went out at the right time a TV show should go out, if you know what I mean. Whereas The Simpsons obviously should have gone out. Like imagine like a wave as it starts to go down. There's still some fun to be had, but you kind of need to end it before it hits and crashes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, don't want to go too far off a tangent. So where did we leave the Winchesters in the last episode? What happened?
Well, basically, obviously, Sam has come home and his girlfriend has now suffered the same fate of his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't yet heard of the yellow-eyed demon.
No.
But know something's not up. And it's a really great, obviously, solid opening to the show. And it gives the anchor point to the season story arc.
Yeah.
Whereas this episode this is their. I mean, I think overall this is actually a better episode than the pilot, but in a different way because this is almost like the perfect example of their Monster of the Week episode.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like their X-Files episode, isn't it? The first few seasons of the X-Files, like when they go into the forest and there's all those little bugs in the trees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen this one since I've seen it for the first time, way back when. Yeah. So I mean, if everyone's ready, line up your DVDs, your Blu-rays, or your Netflix. We're watching it on I'm watching it on Netflix, and I know it's got a previously on Supernatural. Are you watching it on Netflix as well, Steve?
I am, yes, and it has got the previously on Supernatural.
Yes, as soon as the previous, so we'll count you in for this, and also once the previously on Supernatural ends, we'll also tell you just in case your DVD or Blu-ray doesn't have that, so you can sort of sync up with us at that point. Okay, so I mean, if everyone's ready, I'll count you in. It'll be 3, 2, 1, and go. So in 3, 2, 1, go. So let's come on with the November 1983 previously. Yeah. It's weird though, because how I was saying last episode, it was really good, quality HD and 16:9 and all that. But this previously in Supernatural is 4:3 and seems really bad quality. Almost looks like a TV advert,
Well, I mean, kind of. It was a TV advert, I guess. I don't know. It's
bit weird how it's in 4:3. I wonder. I can't. Do you think the show was in 4:3 and it was just a pilot that wasn't?
Well, some pilots are weird. Sometimes you get a pilot that looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
That has like about $5 behind it to make it. But then sometimes you get a pilot that is shot on film and is movie quality, and the rest of the series is made of tinfoil and cardboard.
Well, because the pilot, I'm not sure if this one. It's a lot of pilots don't air, do they? They just go for like a what do you call them, like a test audience and that. So maybe they put more quality and time and effort into the look of the pilot. But let's have a look now. We're getting close to the end of the previously on Supernatural, so We'll let you know when that comes in, so you can sync up if you haven't got that.
Yeah, pilots are weird things. Sometimes they
So
end up
now
getting a feature length.
now you've got the supernatural title card. Okay.
Blackwater Ridge.
I got a feeling. Yeah, why? This is weird. This is in a 4x3 format, yet the pilot was in a 16:9. I wonder if it was like that, because I haven't dug out my DVDs in years. I wonder if it's like it on the DVDs or it's just a Netflix. Because apparently the Netflix, talking about Frasier again, the Netflix quality of Frasier, like the early series, is really bad. It's like worse than VHS quality, yet the DVDs are like crispy clear almost.
Really? No, I guess
Yeah.
it maybe depends on what rights you buy or something, or to the updated versions.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Frasier on Netflix. I only watched it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, it's not exactly 4x3, but it looks a lot more boxed in than the previous episode.
Man, sorry. Right, remember we said about how things don't tend to date in Supernatural. The guy's playing an original DS.
Yeah. Well, isn't it?
Instant,
Yeah, but
instant date.
he's a college kid, isn't he? He could be. That's the only thing, though, isn't it? Like, say, like a DS, and sometimes their mobile phones. They always had the flip phones, and then like it's only in the recent seasons they've gone to smartphones. But a lot of shows, especially think. But then again, it's like Sons of Anarchy, which finished this year. They always had flip phones, but then again, they're criminals, they're crooks. They're
Yes,
what they they're
they're
basically
bandits now.
throwaways, aren't they? Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
they're
why they're cheap phones. Yeah. So
also
answer my
depends
own
on what
question.
also well it works in the storyline if the characters need burners, or if if there's no product placement money to be had, then why give them an iPhone?
Yeah. Well,
Do
I
you know what
thought,
I mean? Why the studio, why should they spend out the money if no one's actually paying them to place it in the
what I thought was great. It was in a recent episode. What series? Season 10. When Cole comes back and they're fighting the they're not vampires, are they? But they like get dehydrated and they have to drink loads and loads of water.
oh yeah.
And that guy Cole comes back because one of the vampire things is his friend, and he's hanging out with the Winchesters, sort of helping him out. And he goes on his phone and it like beeps, and he goes, "Oh look, I just got sent a video." And he like scrolls across from the message to like the video, and all he's doing is literally like it's a photo of like a non, because it's basically like an Apple iPhone, but because they haven't got the rights, they've like customized what the interface looks like, and he's gone from sort of like a picture of like the interface and scrolled it across to like a video play button, and then when he touches the screen and like nothing happens, but you know, like it then cuts to a close up of like showing the video.
So it's like basically like three photos and then a bit of
Yeah,
like a
and then
camera
zoomed in on like
yeah.
like blocked in.
Oh, poor Jessica.
Does that even look like Jessica from the first episode? I can't remember. I can't
Um,
remember the previously on Supernatural that happened 10 seconds ago.
to be honest, we don't really get a good look at her, and it looks enough like her. So
Mm.
you can Google it, but
You can tell the time between the pilot and this because Sam's hair's sort of grown a little bit. He's no longer got the curtains. He's now got that sort of mid-90s High School Musical. What would you call it?
High School Musical wasn't the mid-90s.
No, not mid-90s, mid-2000s. It's like sort of like a bowl cut, but like a rough bowl cut brush to the side.
Like the quaff,
Like
Zac
the guy,
Efron.
yeah, that's what I said, the High School Musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dean's just got the same hair he's had for the last 11 years.
Definitely. I mean, this is a good opening to the episode. It's quite funny actually, because obviously
Very Carrie, isn't it, as well?
yeah, being episode 2 of the season, obviously you know that in a show like Supernatural you're going to get demons, you get vampires, you're going to get all the kind of traditional monsters eventually. I mean, it took them ages, and I think they kind of wasted Frankenstein's, but they get there, don't they, with all of them, where obviously it's quite nice that Wendigo, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, it's stuck, isn't it? Like Dean always mentions a Wendigo when he's giving little sort of like speeches about what he hunts. It's quite a nice touch. It carries the way through, like so far all 10 seasons.
I love the attention they paid to, like this is obviously like a blue screen or green screen car shot. But they have, not only do they have like the stuff in the background, but the windows as well. Like the front window, they've got the trees sort of like panning over and things like that. It's quite a cool little touch.
Yeah, it just adds a little bit of realism to it. I mean,
yeah, you have to think twice of like, is this a green screen? But then obviously, when they're in the car, it does look like a green screen.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, sort of like the dialogue and the characters sort of take your mind off of anything else, and you're only focusing on.
Yeah, we're just picking at it at the moment. So.
Yeah, I know you're saying. I mean, there are a lot of scenes in like shows and that which are jarring. You're like, why? God, why are you using like blue screen? Why don't you just cop out and do the standard thing? Do it at night with a few little fairy lights going past that look like truck lights or way lights. That's another thing, because we were talking about obviously how well the effects in the show have held up, and obviously it's not just this show. Even if you go back to like Star Trek Next Generation, and I mean some effects and sliders are pretty poor, but I don't think Sliders was smart enough to do what Supernatural and especially like what Flash and Arrow are doing now.
What's that?
Well, do you remember that conversation I was having with we were watching Jurassic Park 3 and having that conversation about how I didn't kind of think the Jurassic World effects were all that, but obviously then it was it was brave to show them in broad daylight. They were to be shown in broad daylight. It's like, well, Supernatural's smart enough to know that their effects aren't the best, so they go back to the old tricks of darkness, a bit of fog, different frames, different angles, and a bit of rain, and that's a clever thing, because if your effects are a bit shabby, don't be and film it in broad daylight. Just make the excuse. Fuck it. Do an Ed Wood. Have it daytime, then suddenly nighttime. It doesn't matter. I won't notice if it suddenly goes from day to night in a split second. But I will notice if your effects look like they're done on Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, Dino's buffed up a bit since the pilot as well.
He's very scrawny in the pilot, isn't he?
He was just straight off a daytime soap, didn't he?
Yeah. But this episode, it's obviously got the great opening to it, and it reminds me of the opening to I mean, obviously every horror that's based around campers ever, but there was
Dog Soldiers. It's got the exact same opening as Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, it pretty much has, yeah. There's another one as well though. It's an Outer Limits episode.
Oh, you're going back a long time now.
Yeah, it's my favourite Outer Limits episode. Not the original in like the 60s, but the 90s one. Basically, a guy goes back to his family home, and his brother was like abducted, like snatched into the woods.
Yeah.
When he was a kid, and this creature that took the brother is like calling to him at night. It's a really freaky episode, and I can't remember what it's bloody called. I've looked on the episode list, and I can't place it. I'm pretty sure it's the Outer Limits.
I'm just trying to have a look as well if there's anyone in this episode, because I was saying our last episode we recorded about how there's people in this show that sort of come up and through the ranks. I'm just trying to see if there was anyone in this show that sort of on the front page of IMDb, but there's nothing I could really see at the moment.
But I mean, obviously we're talking about like last episode about like the lore and the way they pay attention to things and like link things, because obviously coming up later on in the show, you've got things like the Croatoan.
Has Sam got not Sam? Has Dean got his amulet? He has, hasn't he?
Yeah,
that was a wasted storyline, was it? I have an amulet.
Yeah, that kind of was like, it glows in the presence of God, and then it never came up ever again, which is weird. But obviously, so this episode, obviously you got the Wendigo, and it links the Donner Party. It's that famous sort of like traveling sort of coach party.
Yeah.
pioneers that were lost in Colorado in 1846. They obviously they got stuck in like a blizzard, didn't they? Ended up having to resort to cannibalism.
Mm.
But again, it's great because it's linking sort of like a little bit of mythology, a little bit of history, and making it sort of like seem more plausible.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, I was actually looking earlier. Apparently, obviously, the Wendigo, it's quite a popular sort of like kind of creature. It's not just something that supernatural plucks out of nowhere.
Mm.
It's featured. It's even been featured in the X Files, Grimm, Teen Wolf, loads of other stuff. But the weirdest one I saw was, where was it? Wendigos apparently have appeared in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Apparently, they were spiritual creatures, and they fed off fighting and hatred.
Bloody hell.
Of all the things I thought when I was like sort of like looking up Wendigos, can you imagine like Sam Winchester sitting there doing his research and coming across a My Little Pony reference to Wendigos and things like,
I
well, how should we kill it? I don't know.
I bet you if
Could-
this was an episode now, like in a season now, there'd be a little poke at that. Not My Little Pony, but they'll be like, oh, cute little horses. They had a Wendigo featured on it. They would have a little dig like they always do.
Yeah, they would have seen it like a chance for a quick pop culture reference and taken it.
Yeah. It was surprising in a recent episode as well. Is was it the one with about Taylor Swift? She wasn't the main focus, but was it like where Dean turned a bit feminine or something like that, and or something like he turned soft, and he was like, "Oh, I like Taylor Swift," and at the end they actually had the Taylor Swift song, which was quite surprising.
Well, I
Probably
mean, I
cost them
think
a whole episode's budget just to have
yeah,
that.
probably did as
That's
well.
why they were like, no special effects, nothing like that. Dean just turned soft.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing, isn't it? They built up a lot of credibility. And they built a solid fan base because obviously
Mm.
season 11 just premiered,
Yeah.
and well, we were talking last week, and the ratings were 1.99 million.
What on the new one?
Yeah, it was slightly down on. I think it was like just under a million. No, was it like like 900,000 down or something? I can't
Mm.
remember. 90,000 down. Not
Yeah.
important. Slightly down on season 10, but again, still consistent. It's
Yeah.
still it's got its audience. It's got its audience, and that's what it needs. And it's episodes like this that when you go back and you watch through, there'll be one coming up soon, isn't there? Where there's the lake and the drowned kid.
Oh yeah.
Again, it's just it is actually sometimes easy to forget watching some of the new episodes. As much as like I love sort of Crowley and the way he conducts his business with hell, like how all the demons now are like these just bumbling interns.
Yeah.
It it does make you sort of kind of like go back and go, wow, actually there was some serious like real good drama as well as just sort of like it wasn't just entertainment.
Mm.
So hopefully they'll drop a few sort of good solid monster of the week ones with a bit more. I don't know, not a slow pace, a solid pace. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to. I was just looking at these ratings for the opening, the
Yeah.
season premieres. I mean, what did you say it was? 1.9.
Like 199, like 1.99.
Because season 10 was 2.02, so that's only 200,000 almost. Well, it's less than that, isn't it?
Yes,
It's like 20,000 less.
so yeah, it's like a non-event drop off, really, isn't it? It's just
It's the
basically
lowest opening. Oh no, that's average. Sorry. Let's go down. Let's go down to season 10's opening was 2.5 million. So, sorry, my little math there was a bit slow.
no. Well, it's still it's still good, and it obviously had to compete with other shows. A lot of shows on Wednesday, obviously, and then obviously a lot of shows this week coming out. But
Mm.
I think the
God,
thing,
I'm surprised. Sorry that season 7. Did you say was it you that said season 7 was probably the not the worst series, but the least enjoyable series?
Well, yeah, no. Series 7, creative wise, is the hardest to watch and has the least enjoyable episodes. Yeah, season 7 is the weakest from a story arc, the writing.
See, these you can't take notice of these IMDb figures.
I love this bit because this is where you're starting to see what the Wendigo is, and this has that that again proper horror elements to it, and a bit like remember The Descent as well. That was freaky.
Yeah, that's an awesome film as well. Not so much The Descent 2. But
this episode has a lot of. It really feels like a really solid pace because the hardest thing to do is, I mean, once you've made a great pilot, okay, that's fantastic. How are you going to follow it up? On a because the pilot will have a certain budget that's constrained. That's that's pigeonholed just for that one kind of that one episode, that one sort of like pilot. Whereas obviously now
the guy looks like Mark Pellegrino.
Yeah. Now you've got to divide the money up per episode, haven't you? So you've got to be sort of solid and consistent. And this is, it's so well shot. It has a great atmosphere, and they've actually changed some of the cinematography because I remember there's a lot more of this kind of like bright natural lighting in this season.
Yeah.
This one has sort of like Predator kind of feels to it, doesn't it?
It feels a lot more natural, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Depends on like the budgetary probably had something to do. But as I was saying, right, Wikipedia says that season 7 has an average. The season average for season 7 in viewers was 2.03 million. But if you look at each individual viewership, the only episode with over 2 million was 2.01, and which was the pilot. The rest are like 1.8, 1.7, 1.69, 1.55, 1.57, 1.58, and 1.56 for the last 3 episodes. I'm surprised they didn't cancel it then,
That's
that much of a drop. But how can that be an average of 2.03 million when not one episode had that high of a rating?
No, it's not like the premiere episode had something stupid like 8-9 million that could carry it, could average out, is it really? So,
yeah,
I think honestly, the show was lucky to get through season 7.
Yeah,
I think it was.
What was the main plot of season 7? I'm just trying to think back.
The Leviathans,
Oh yeah,
Roman and stuff. We ain't got dick on dick. And they killed Bobby, and then you had the guy
Spoiler alert there. If you listen to this, but if you're going along with the film, like the show now, we should warn you. Like if you're starting from the beginning and you're in the first couple of seasons and you're going back and doing these, there will be spoilers, unfortunately, but it's hard to avoid them. Well,
I think we've already kind of like just worked out in the last part of that conversation that Supernatural hasn't gained any new fans in 10 years. Yeah. So anyone listening to this hasn't really seen Supernatural and is literally just going back. Yeah. So we're not trying to like reach out to a new audience because the show has decided that look, we're not going to reach out to a new audience. It's going to be what we can be. But season 7 definitely when you have Pirates of the Caribbean guy come in, and he's there for like what 2 or 3 episodes with new Bobby, then he's gone. It was completely pointless. Was it Mr. Gibbs or something?
I'm trying to remember.
Pointless. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this episode. So they've just found the camp.
Yeah. It's like in Congo.
Well, did you see the name? I don't think it's probably not a nod, but when they're in the tent at the beginning, guy's reading the book, and the name of the author on it says something Campbell.
Ah.
Possible Bruce Campbell nod there.
Maybe.
Especially with that, the opening, the hand in the grave. That's like the Supernatural poster, isn't it?
There is, yes. Yeah,
not Supernatural, sorry, Evil Dead poster.
Yes, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
When you know what someone means, but you don't correct them because you just know
You know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean, because you're thinking the same thing. But it's
yeah,
also a Carrie nod as well, isn't it, with the grave? So,
yeah.
spoiler alert for Carrie there.
I think I think well, spoiler with Carrie is the remake. It's just
Yeah. Spoiled alert.
yeah. But this one's so like I mean,
Hmm.
again, you got like
I think,
it has that predator feel. Do you know what also it's like a sort of like a redneck in the middle of America kind of the Lost World feel.
yeah, and I think the thing with this, it's probably filmed. He freakily looks like Mark Pellegrino, the guy with the rifle.
I
But
think he's
I've just looked him up. He's actually an English actor. Callum Keith Rennie from Sunderland. But
he's
this was probably filmed in a forest or a woods or something, whereas now they're probably filmed in like the wooded area in a park. You know,
yeah. I mean, I think a lot more of it is done on set now, like
yeah, bigger
sound,
crew and things like that now. So
which is it's quite funny actually. Because like a lot of time, it actually does turn out when you've got sort of the logistics of dragging the cast, you've got the crew, all the lights, the cameras, then the
mm.
permits, the taxes. It's actually it's actually cheaper half the time to build a forest than it is just to go and film in bloody one.
Yeah, it was like what was I looking up earlier? It's World War Z. You know the Brad Pitt film.
Yeah,
The whole opening. See, have you seen it?
I have. Yeah, I went to cinema see it.
Oh yeah, the whole opening where they're in the traffic and they're sitting in the car and then it's sort of like the outbreak.
Yeah.
It's in Philadelphia. That whole scene, like that whole opening there, is filmed in Glasgow, in Scotland, and it was
Okay.
cheaper for them to basically put up all the street signs, change all the traffic lights, import a ton of, or not import, or do something with a ton of American cars than it was to actually film in Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's same with Captain America, the original, and like a lot of the old 50s, it's not 50s, it was like the 30s um, scenes from the original Captain American City are actually shot in Manchester, in England.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a certain section of Manchester called like Old Town or something. You look at it and it does look like sort of 1930s New York.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's yeah. This is just odd, isn't it?
yeah,
It's just weird. It's like reminds me of The Simpsons, where what was it? They're painting that was it painting the horse to look like a cow or something?
yeah,
And
something
then
like
if you
that.
want a cow, you tie a bunch of cats together.
But it's like the same with Supernatural. Going back to that, is that it's meant to be all like Middle
Yes,
America and small
yes.
town America. It's all shot in Canada,
Yeah.
so
That's
it's,
I love that in the French mistake. We're like, we're in Canada.
yeah.
Like Canada's offensive to Dean's like American sensibility.
Hmm.
I wonder if you ever get a Wendigo return in Supernatural. Actually,
I don't know. They always eventually bring back something, don't they? Just
I
in a
think
different capacity. Like as I was saying, that one recently with the sort of like the not vampire things. It was almost like that film Sliver, wasn't it? It was like these weird worms that went inside you and dehydrated you, but like
mm,
made you wanted to eat people. Yeah,
yeah, it's like thirst, wasn't it?
yeah, but
Consumption.
that was sort of like not an improved version, but like it was like an evolved monster from an earlier episode.
Yeah, I mean to be honest, like I quite like the film Slither, but obviously it is a remake of Night of the Creeps, really.
It could be a supernatural episode, couldn't it? Well, it pretty much was, but the level it was on and the special effects and things like that. The book, John Winchester's book. It's his Necronomicon.
Yeah, the book's disappeared really as well, hasn't it? Because
Mm.
obviously, that was destroyed, wasn't it?
I can't remember. There's so many episodes. Yeah, I mean you've doubled back more than me, so
Because then obviously, so that I mean, basically, pretty much everything that John left is gone.
yeah.
Most of Bobby's stuff is gone. They've obviously now lost all the Men of Letters stuff.
Hmm. Would you like to see John Winchester back?
Only in the last episode, I
What?
think.
Or like they free him from hell?
Nah, I think everyone knows what he should just come back as God. But there we go.
And
I think that's just it's what
Bobby's his right hand man.
when it's like just everyone, all the fans want it, and even though if it doesn't make any sense, just do it because you can't write anything clever or that'll make fans go when they're all going. Nah, John Winchester should just come back and be like, I was God all along.
Hmm. I
And
reckon
maybe that's why.
it's probably 100% safe bet that he'll be back in the last season or the last episode at some point, whenever it is.
Hopefully, I
Mm.
mean, because it would make sense if like John came back. Well, obviously John can't be God, but you know, it would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see something like that because obviously the parallels that between Sam and Dean being Lucifer and Michael.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. What minute are you on? Because mine fucking froze for the last 5 minutes.
15:09 left on the counter.
Okay, I'm there as well.
Yeah.
This is what reminds me of like Predator and also that other episode because obviously it's calling like as a decoy, as a trap. Remember when Danny Trejo was like,
yeah, he's in the field, isn't he? But it's the plants, isn't it, or something replicating the sounds.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that, did it? That's almost a direct rip-off, isn't it? Help me.
Well, I mean, it's a classic tale, though, isn't it?
The Jurassic World now with the the raptors.
Yeah.
Watch your 6. Raptors got a new alpha.
And then he's just run off like in Predator, where then Apollo Creed has to run after him.
Yeah.
I always forget the other guy's name. Oh, Predator rips into the trees. I love this episode. I actually fucking love this episode.
Welcome to How Many Films Have Ripped Off Supernatural podcast.
Yeah. Right, how many films did Supernatural rip off for this episode, followed by then how many films rips off this episode for their films?
Life imitating art, or art imitating art, imitating art.
Yeah. But it's a classic tale, obviously, because you had like the sirens and stuff, obviously would lure sailors to the rocks. Then obviously you still got the myths again, like mermaids would do same, mermaid sirens, same kind of thing. And there are actually stories about like animals that mimic human calls to like lure people away from the safety of the villages and that.
Yeah.
And there is an animal. What the fuck is the animal that does that? So it's something. It is something. There's an animal out there, like a hyena or something, that mimics the sound of a child.
It's in like these African villages, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
Let's Google it. Good old Google.
I mean, that's freaky, isn't it? Like you're sitting around, like your little sort of like your sort of village campsite, or even just a campsite, and you've got this sound like of a kid sort of in distress, and it must be creepy as hell.
Mm.
Obviously, she comes back, doesn't she, later on in the show?
I think a lot of female characters come back, don't they? They become like sort of strong, like reinvented females. I think it's to give the show like just rather than it being like manly men, men saving the day every time. You always get the women come back as like strong female characters and help them out, just to show that it's not all about men.
Yeah, was it season 8
Mm.
clip show? Yeah, that's the thing. You keep your eye out, and there's like reoccurring characters that pop up here and there, even if they literally pop up just to be killed, or pop. Most of the time, they're like normally guilt, sort of like guilt trips, aren't they?
Yeah,
Except it's always really weird. The one thing I did wish the show would do is expand on like the hunter community,
yeah.
because there are episodes as well. There's like little gluts here and there where it's almost like hunter sidekicks of the week, where they just walk into town to get slaughtered.
Mm.
And Sam and Dean know them. They were friends with their dad and Bobby and stuff. And you
Yeah,
know
it's always
they're dead. Yeah, they're dead within about 5 minutes, aren't they?
cannon fodder almost.
Yeah, they're red shirts. So I appreciate it because you need that for a series. But it would be nice. Obviously, they had like the Roadhouse, didn't they? Where there was a little bit of an expanse on
There's
sort
a
of
little
the
predator
hunting.
nod there, isn't it? With the
Yeah.
old editor. Uh
It can camouflage.
oh.
Dominus Rex comes out. That's massive prayer to that.
Mm.
But it's great. That's why I love this episode, because it is such a strong, solid episode. There is no real. Yeah, Dean's like does his a little bit of his charming self and that, but
It's pretty much a
this
horror film, isn't it? Like a.
this is balls to the wall, serious.
Mm.
This one.
Uh oh. Someone so tall, Sam's quite a slow runner.
No, I'm not sure. I think they actually just recycled the running shot.
Yeah.
I think if you go, hang on, I think if you go back, I think they did actually recycle the running around the corner shot with Sam and the. I'm so lazy. I've got like the characters' names in front of me. I just call him the kid.
Mm. Kid of the week, isn't it?
Yeah, kid of the week.
See,
Actually,
Sam always used to wear these bombery jacket sort of coats, didn't he? Until he started wearing sort of like the similar long jacket to Dean.
yeah, I think because they were trying to sort of like they were trying to sort of make him younger, weren't they? Give him that more college kid
Yeah.
kind of edge, whereas Dean was like out in the world with his dad kind of thing, so was wearing like
He's
grass.
almost like he almost looks like a vet, you know, like a war vet, doesn't he? Sort of
Yeah,
jackets.
yeah.
Do not enter, so they enter.
No, don't go in there. It's My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Oh no, it's just Friday the 13th remake. It is My Bloody Valentine 3D.
But that's in like obviously X Files. Each episode it was low on the visual horror, high on the tension and
Mm.
suspense, and like intrigue. And this episode sort of ticks all those boxes. I mean, you don't really see the creature. I mean, that's a fantastic shot there.
But basically, it's just someone walking towards the light.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic shot because it doesn't like sort of take away from the show, from the episode, does it? At all,
Mm.
that you don't see the creature up front really in those kind of shots. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I'd give anything for like an X Files slash Supernatural slash Hellblazer crossover.
I mean, that's quite a few characters all jammed together.
Mm.
Okay,
They
so
they did it with like the Avengers, even though they're all like different properties. You got
so
Fox TV's, CW, and DC Comics.
well, I mean, that's all right for CW.
Mm.
It's just realistically, CW should have Constantine anyway.
Oh yeah, it's thing is on CW, isn't it? Is it Arrow and Flash, or is that on?
Yeah. Arrow and Flash on CW.
Yeah. So yeah, Constantine is
Yeah.
doable, even though his show's been cancelled. But I think they're going to see the reception of how because he's going to be in the 4th episode, isn't he, of the new Flash season?
Hopefully.
Well, they've confirmed it.
I mean, like, hopefully they'll see the reception
Yeah.
to it because I think Arrow did quite well this week, and I think the Flash did all right as well. But I mean, it would be sort of like really quite cool. Like, I mean, obviously fan fiction to have obviously Mulder and Scully suddenly show up I mean, especially this episode, which is almost It's like this episode reminds me of, you can imagine Mulder and Scully hearing about Wendigo and going around the woods talking to random people and doing their X-Filey thing.
Yeah.
While this is the real shit going on.
Almost, what's the episode where it's the kids, like, they're filming and Sam and Dean are just almost like third row characters and they just pop up every now and then. And it could almost be done like that, where you're following Sam and Dean, not camera, but just as normal. But Mulder and Scully keep popping up in the background, and they're trying to avoid them. But I think, unfortunately, the characters and the actors are too big now for sort of something like that anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never get Fox and the CW crossing over like that, but you can soap in fan fiction. I mean, I reckon you could do a pretty good edit yourself if you were to like.
Oh yeah, if you could find like a handful of supernatural episodes, like in the woods and weird creatures, you could easily find a handful of X-Files. What do they call them? They're not like where they're like fan cuts. There's a certain word for them.
Mashups.
Yeah, no, it's not mashups, but it doesn't matter. But that'd be awesome.
I think, do you know what would actually work really well? Do you know the episode where in the X-Files episode where you got basically the Predator ripoff? You have the invisible alien.
Yeah.
In the end, Mulder and the alien in the warehouse, aren't they? And it takes the guy up.
Yeah.
You could edit that episode together with this, I reckon, in places.
Add in some Lost.
No.
The smoke demon.
No. What the fuck's a smoke demon?
Well, it's not a smoke demon, it's a smoke monster.
Don't.
It's like the amulet, isn't it? The smoke monster from Lost. It was this big character in it, or a big part, and it just nothing happened to it.
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, the amulet kind of, they just skimmed over the fact that Castiel disappeared with it and went away.
That's quite a freaky monster, isn't it?
Oh, that is, yeah.
If you're watching this late at night, the lights off, volume up.
Yeah,
Very the descent though. Almost looks like Nosferatu as well.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm.
I like that actually, though. I like those. I mean, I know it's dated, but like that Salem's Lot kind of looking.
Yeah.
Vampire. It's just fucking creepy as shit. That's obviously what the Strains brought back, hasn't it?
Mm.
That kind of like really, this
just
is
like
not
pale skin.
Yeah.
Hairy shoulders.
But like, because obviously, go think of the Strain. You think obviously, like you obviously, Guillermo del Toro did Blade 2, didn't he?
Mm.
And he did the vampires all like fucked up and shit in that. Where at the time people were like, no, man, vampires need to be like Buffy and and like Kim Frost and shit. They need to be like suave and cool and like
Sparkle.
just a little. Well. No, I mean, it's like this was still when vampires could be kind of like, when scary could still be sexy without sparkling.
Yeah.
Do you know that tagline is still all over the internet when you search for Supernatural?
What, scary just got sexy?
Yeah.
Maybe ITV just used it wrong.
Yeah, maybe they showed the picture of the Wendigo and was like, yeah, look how sexy this is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know sort of like Pee Wee Herman didn't get a lot of work after his Playhouse got like shut down, but retreating underground like this.
Yeah. The Winchesters continue their journey. I watched this with subtitles, and some of like the sound effect things, it's like siren whales. just quite funny. Or like the subtitle comes up first, so it says siren whales, and then 2 seconds later it's like beep beep.
I like when you watch the subtitles on the news because they're trying to keep up with a live broadcast. None of it makes any sense.
Oh, Sammy's driving the car.
Well, again, I like this episode because it ties up a nice bit of bromance on the car.
Yeah.
You know, you got it's just an absolute solid, like, this is what the show is.
Yeah, just driving, music, monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's episode 2 over and done with. Right, I mean, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up episode 2?
No, not really. I just, I just like the Monster of the Week episodes, and the thing is, it's quite funny because they've even started to refer to it in the show's universe, in their internal universe, haven't they, as like Monster of the Week episode?
Yeah.
Because what was that? There was a line, wasn't there? It's like, oh, why don't we just go on a hunt? What, like some kind of monster of the week or something, monster of the week thing or something. It's like, it is good.
Yeah.
But that is definitely one of my favorite episodes. I think that.
Wendigo.
Yeah, I would say that because as we go through this, I'm going to put ones that are my contender for top 10, and that is definitely a contender for my top 10.
Yeah. I think at the end, when we reach the end of each season, we should do like a combined top 3, where we have to vote on our top 3 episodes of the season. And obviously, hopefully we'll get some listener interaction going as well to hear what your favourite episodes are of the first season and the second season, and eventually when we catch up. So
yeah, we're going to be doing this a long time.
Well, I think there's something like 200 episodes now?
Well, no, it's 200 episodes plus the rest of season 10, and now obviously one of season. So you're probably looking about
219 episodes
219.
in total. So even if we say there's 200 episodes and we're doing these once a week, that's at least 4.5 years.
We're going to be doing this longer than bloody Ackles and Padalecki.
But no, on quiet nights, we might end up doing 2 episodes a night, when we're really into it and we feel like, we might be deep in conversation about something supernatural and think, fuck it, let's roll over into the next episode,
Why not?
Yeah. So
what do you think? Wendigo as an episode, is that around your potential top 3 of the season, or? See,
I need to go for him again because, as I said, you've done like a round trip in recent years. I haven't since day one, of the recent seasons, or all the seasons, So so that's why I said at the end of the series. So there's a lot of episodes I think back to, and I'm like, what season's that? That's an early episode, but I can't remember what season it is in, Because until sort of season 4 come in, that's sort of like a divider because you're like, oh, okay, Cass and all that,
Yeah, I know, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, one of my favourite all-time episodes is is it the Mystery Box or the Magic Box? With the Groundhog Day episode.
A mystery spot, I told you.
A mystery spot. Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of my favourite episodes of the whole series.
What did you say? Did you say mystery box and then magic box?
Yeah.
So you were like half close and then you got further away from it.
It's been a long time. So it's been like, 7 years since I watched the first season. So, but it's nice. It's good to get back into it. I'd like to pick up on some little bits that I missed out the first time around. Obviously now is like a diehard fan. Yeah. Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap up?
No, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Great watching it again.
Yeah. Depending where you're watching this, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously we'd appreciate, subscriptions, likes and comments. Nice comments, that is. Obviously, same on like iTunes or Stitcher or anything like that. Yeah, we're on Twitter at SupernatFiles, because you can't fit Supernatural Files in, but Supernat, SUPERNATFILES. We'll probably set up a Facebook, so if you're listening to this like quite a while after the date it's on iTunes or YouTube, check out. Probably, I don't think anyone's taken Supernat Files on Facebook, so just follow that as well. Yeah, just send us comments, questions, suggestions, anything, we could start discussions. We'll be happy to, and there's a lot of cool other Supernatural fan sites, fan accounts on Twitter and things like that. Follow them; they're all pretty cool. It seems to be a nice fan community. Seems very positive.
Yeah, it's definitely got one of the biggest communities. Probably, TV show wise, it's probably one of the most active communities, other than really Star Trek, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's because it doesn't, unlike Star Trek, people get their own theories. There's so many universes, so people butt heads, and things like that. Whereas Supernatural, you just kick back and enjoy it,
Mm.
I mean, you can have your own theories of like what's going to happen in the seasons and that, but not to the point of where people are like, "No, you're wrong," anything like that.
I'm not sure Star Trek fans kind of like, go full out battle against each other, to be honest. They're probably more like,
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening to the Supernatural Files.
Now hit the road.